Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Anthony, this is Akeem, and today we're going to teach you the top 10 tips that we use to buy and sell cars.
Alright, so these tips are used for every time you want to make some extra money, or if you ever want to get into flipping car business. We recommend you using these tips because these were tips that we didn't know or that no one told us when we first got into this business. And let's start this off by saying tip number one, really important, is know the rules of your state. When I say know the rules of your state, I mean know what rules your state has that governs buying and selling cars, because different states have different rules. In some states, you're gonna have to get a title notarized, while in others you don't have to worry about that. And in some states, you're only allowed to sell up to 5 cars per year, while others you sell 4. There's a bunch of different variation between the rules. And for whatever state you are in while you're watching this video, if you need to get, or if you want to get into this business, you need to know what rules govern that state that you're selling the cars in.
Right on. And also with the title, some states require, like a state we live in now, they on the back of the title they have a newer title where the bill of sale is actually filled out and notarized on the back of that title. And I've been called at the DMV without that, with just the bill of sale, and that wasn't good enough. So you want to make sure that you know all of that before you go. Going to the DMV, everybody knows, can be a hassle.
Alright, so tip number 2 is capital. If you want to flip cars, you're going to need some kind of startup capital. Now, I feel like for starting up, $1,500 is a good amount of money. Some people think it takes thousands of dollars to start up flipping cars, or it takes a lot of training or hard work. You can start this business off with $1,500. And when I say $1,500, I don't mean like you buy the car for $1,500 and you spend extra money to put into the car and eventually go over that initial $1,500. I mean you buy and fix the car for $1,500 or less. There's a lot of cases where you can buy a car for like $800. Probably needs a bad, say for instance he has a bad alternator, you spend another $150, $200 to fix the alternator. There you go, you have a car, you only put $1,000 in, you can probably sell it for $2,000, right?
Yeah, and then to add on to that, your budget is really going to determine the type of car you get. So for $1,500, obviously you're not going to get the car in the best of shape. So keep in mind of that, and that's all I really got to say on capital, because that's going to bring us into the next tip, which is
the next tip is know the basics of mechanics. Now, when I say like knowing the basics of mechanics, I don't mean that you're gonna need to know how to remove an engine, or you're gonna need to know how to change that same alternator. You don't need to know all of that stuff. You need to know, however, simple stuff. And as long as you're willing to learn, you can always watch YouTube videos about that specific vehicle that you're working on and follow the instructions to figure it out. One thing I do recommend though for anyone doing this business is they should go out there and purchase a OBD2 Reader. You don't have to purchase an expensive one that mechanic shops use, the ones for $500, $1,000. You can get a little simple one from Walmart for like $25, and that'll be good enough. And if you're really invested in this business, you can really go and get a blue driver that sells on Amazon. I think they sell for like $100 a piece. Those are probably the best starter OBD2 readers you can have. But if you're tight on money and the reason why you want to get into business because you don't have enough money already, 100% before you even do this, you need to have an OBD2 reader. Even if it's the cheap $25 one from Walmart, it will save you hundreds. It will save you hundreds, because you can go to a person and they can be like, well, this is all that's wrong with it. I'll sell you the car for $1,500, and then you can plug in your reader and be like, well, it says this and that is wrong with it as well, and you can use that as a way to negotiate a price better. You can get that $1,500 probably down to like $1,200, and see, by buying that $25 tool, you save $300. So it's already paid, or it's already paid off its work already on one flip.
And to go a little more into that with the basics of mechanics, you also want to know the type of cars. You want to know kind of general knowledge of cars, or what's going to be a decent car to sell. And what is going to be the model that is going to be desired. And I don't know if we go into that later on.
Actually, that is the next tip. Next tip, finding the cars themselves. So next tip is finding the cars themselves. So we use different ways to find the cars that we flip. About 85 to 90% of it, I would say, comes off Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is a great way to find cars in a relatively short time, especially if you sign up to like the groups around your area. You can really like hone in on a car that comes up in your price range.
And the best thing about it is actually free. It's free.
Yeah. And what I really like about it is that you can see the person's face that you're buying the car from, so you know if it looks a little sketchy or shady. You can even look at a person's page. You know, some people might have their page private, but not everyone does. And you can look at a person's like page to see what type of person they are. If you trust being in an area with that person, so it's a lot safer than Craigslist, which nowadays Craigslist is filled with scams in my opinion.
Yeah, and then you have other areas you can find cars at. You got something like auto limits. So if you have more of a higher budget, you can go on the True Car or Car Guru is one I've actually used to buy a car, but that's on the higher end where you're talking more of in the $3,000 to $7,000 price range.
Typically for Facebook Market, people list cars when they either fed up with it, like something broken, they just don't want to deal with it anymore, which could be very good for you. It could be something simple.
And we get plenty of those.
We get plenty of people who are like,
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. And then bam, all it means is the food comes ready and costs $50 to put it in the car and sold it $3 you bought it for. Actually, it was $500. But yes, we got a lot of those people who just something's wrong with the car, they just want to get rid of it fast so they can buy another car, or they just bought a car, or people who are actually going through a hard time, going through like, I don't know, a divorce, or just simply moving. They could be just moving and can't take the car with them, and they just really want to get rid of it quick and fast.
That's a hot tip for people near military installations. You're always going to find those deals. They're around every day.
Yeah, if you're somehow fortunate enough to live close to a military installation, people in the military tend to move a lot, and because of that, they sell cars often. And when new people come, as soon as they come, they want to buy a car. So it's a good area if you're anywhere close to a military installation.
But that was what, tip number 4.
So now we're moving on to tip number 5, which is negotiations.
Yeah, negotiations. So, like you were saying earlier, you always want to expand your price. So if your budget is $1,500, I wouldn't hesitate to look in the $2,000, $2,500 mark, because there's always room to negotiate. Every deal you always want to negotiate. You want to try to come down on that price. You lower your expense so you can raise your profits on the back end. You're also going to get negotiated on when you go to sell the car. Somebody's going to go walk around the car, they're going to pick it apart and try to lower the price on you. So always negotiate that deal. Is one of our best practices. Always use negotiation, because people post cars for hire or what they absolutely want the most out of the car when they will sell it for a lower minimum.
Exactly. Like we were saying, even though your budget for this build or this flip might be $1,500, don't hesitate to look for cars that are listed as $1,800 or $2,000 cars, because once you get there, you can negotiate. You can get that $2,000 car that they wanted originally down to like $1,300, and it's still a good car. So always use negotiations, because trust me, when you're selling cars, they're going to negotiate with you. I've only ever sold one car where the person just bought it as is, no negotiation, once in my entire 2 years of doing this. So negotiate. Which brings us into topic number, I think, 7 or 6. We're at 6, which is finding a trustworthy mechanic or someone who you trust working in your car that can offer you a good deal. Because if you're gonna start flipping cars, eventually you're gonna probably be flipping, 2-3 cars a month, right? And if you're going to be bringing that person or that individual so much business on a regular basis, you can talk to them and try to see if you can get a lower discounted rate. That way, they have constant business and you have a better than average price to fix your cars. You definitely don't want to bring it to any shady mechanics that can mess up your flip or your tools, but find you a good mechanic. But if you really want to maximize on profits, I would check YouTube first, figure out if the issue the car has is a simple fix or something you think you can do on your own, because you really don't want to, have a mechanic eat out at your profits. If it's something simple, and trust me, a lot of the time I know cars are very complex machines, but sometimes it could be a simple fuse or something really, really, really simple that's causing big issues. You don't know. Check out it first on YouTube before you even consider taking it to a mechanic. Save yourself a ton of money.
Right, and you don't want to always go with the cheapest mechanic. I've learned over the years that going with the cheapest mechanic can set you back a lot. So you want to make sure you find a mechanic that's going to do the job right. He's going to be truthful with you, which is a very hard thing to do. It's going to take a little bit of searching for yourself. I always recommend, like you said, watching YouTube, learning how to work on the car, taking the time to actually learn how it operates, and building your tool base up and doing it yourself.
Alright, so now you found the car, you negotiated the car, you got the car, you fixed the car because you took it to the mechanic. So now that brings us to tip number 7, how to market your car. A lot of times for me personally, when I look on Facebook Market or wherever I go to find these cars, there are people who, for some strange reason, they're trying to sell these cars and they only have like one picture up, and the one picture that they do have up is a very lousy picture, very blurry. And even if they do have one good picture, or even if they have several good pictures, they don't spend the time to write a good description or a good in-depth detail about the car. They like car runs and drives or car in good conditions. Something very stupid like that. Trust me, buyers are not looking for that. They want you to take pictures of every angle of the car if possible. You should at least have maybe 10 at minimum pictures, and that's I would shoot for probably 18 myself or 20, but 10 is minimum of what you want. 10 good quality pictures you take in the day. Don't be taking pictures at night because nobody wants that. They want to see the car at its full. And you need to write about, in your description, you need to write about details about the car, like any features it has. You have heated seats, sunroof, Bluetooth radio, anything like that. You want to write that all the recent work you've done to it. Say you changed the battery or something along those lines. You want to talk about that. Trust me, that really helps. People want a reliable car, and they will be happy if the car has recent parts put into it. Trust me, everybody really loves that.
And the only thing I have to say really about that is on the picture topic, when you're taking pictures of the car, if you got a crappy interior, but it has a touchscreen Kenwood radio, take a picture of the radio. I mean, it's going to sell. The radio's going to sell. Also take a picture of the mileage on the dash. So when they're looking through the pictures, they see all that stuff up front. Of course, you'll put it down in the description as well to minimize the people that don't want the car and to maximize the responses that you get from people that only want to buy the car because they know as much as they possibly can. Only thing for them to do is come look at it, test drive it, and then ride off it.
Yeah, and to further on that, I would definitely, if you're taking pictures, clean the car first. Don't be out here selling dirty cars because everybody wants a clean car. You can take it to a car wash for all I care. Use the vacuum cleaner for $2.
Don't leave your McDonald's French fries on the floor.
Clean the car out thoroughly, as clean as possible. Take a picture of the engine bay as well, because a lot of people forget that. Take a picture of the engine bay. Take a wet rag or cloth or a damp rag, I should say, and wipe it out. Make sure it looks nice and clean for whoever's planning to buy the car. Trust me, it goes a long way.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to move in on to the next one, which was trade. So before we get into this one, this It's a good, but for newbies, we're not gonna really recommend trades, right?
Yeah, no, not. I would think you have at least have to do get your feet wet first. Do at least 3 trades. Not trades, my bad. Do at least 3 flips first before you even consider doing any kind of trades, because you can come up a lot of trades, but right now just focus on making your money. Focus on figuring out if this is something you want to pursue before you even consider any trades. But trades are also good. You have anything?
Not really. This trades are something that's going to be a little more advanced. You have to know really what you're doing, and you got to know a lot. There's a lot of things doing the aspects of trades, which we'll go into that more in detail. But right now, we're just doing really a basic overview.
Yeah, I do want to say something quick though. When you put your car for sale, a lot of people are going to message you about trades, and sometimes you have to like analyze the cost of your vehicle or the value of your vehicle to the value of theirs. Because we literally went from a V6 Firebird to a lifted
Silver 2500.
Yeah, HD edition. And it's all because their vehicle didn't run and they want something to go around with, and our vehicle did. So you have to analyze the value of your vehicle, which that V6 Firebird was probably only worth like 2,000, 2,500, while that HD Silverado lifted already was probably worth like 6,000. So it was a good deal for us. It was a good swap.
Which we're going into, we're talking about trucks right now, which brings us an excellent time to bring in the tip number 9, which is optional.
It's kind of optional. You don't really need it to start off flipping cars, but yeah. I mean, if you do have it, it's recommended. It's better for you, I would say, which is having a truck or owning a truck or knowing someone with a truck that can help you, because a lot of times people have cars, good condition cars, body's good, excellent mechanic condition, and it doesn't have a good fuel pump. The fuel pump's not working, right? So that car obviously can't be driven. Now, you can either pay extra money and have someone tow the vehicle for you, whatever distance. Towing could be hundreds of dollars. Yeah, or you can miss out on a good deal. So you have those options. But if you had a truck, you can go to U-Haul, rent a trailer for like $50 a day, drive down, pick up the car or pick up the vehicle, and come back, drop off the trailer, and there you go. You didn't miss out the deal, and it didn't cost you an arm and a leg for that. So
also buying the car on the weekend. If you buy a car on the weekend and you weren't prepared to buy that car, the DMV's not open. You're not going to have time to really go get that the plate or anything or register the car. You may have to drive 2 hours, like you said, to go see the car. So having that truck and put it on the trailer makes it a little easier for you to get the car home. And instead of having you ride somebody else down there and then driving 2 cars back.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Like I said, it's optional. When I first started, I didn't have a truck. I actually did the towing method until I thought about it and was like, well, all this towing I'm paying for, it's actually better for me to just get a truck. And that's what I did. I used all my profits from flipping cars, or actually bought a truck, and it saved me so much money doing that. I don't know if you had a truck when you first started.
No, when I first started, I kind of had, I was buying more higher end cars, $6,000, $7,000 cars, and buying them undervalued and selling them high. Buying low, selling high. And I would drive those cars around, I would register them. This is before I really even knew flipping. And then once I started getting the flipping cars, I was like, a truck is probably a good investment, because to buy the cars that we need to sell and flip and make maximum profit, sometimes they're not going to be running. And that's what we did. We got trucks. I think we got trucks at the same time.
Yeah. And lastly, tip number 10, also optional, not really needed, I would say, get a business partner, because like I said at the start of this video, the rules of state, if you don't have a dealer's license, depending on what state it is, say for instance, hypothetically, you can only sell 5 cars per year. So I can sell 5 cars per year. But if I have a business partner, I can sell 5 cars per year, and he can sell 5 cars per year. So now we double the amount of cars we can sell, and we maximize the amount of profits. We have also, you're taking a lot less risks, especially when you first start this up, or this business up, because you split the cost of the vehicle repairs and price evenly. So instead of you paying $1,000 for this car, right? You can only invest $500, or your business partner invest $500. Or if you want, you can go the alternative route of like you still paying the same $1,000. Your business partner throws in $1,000, so now you have a chance to get a more higher end vehicle, which will be sold for way much more money, making you more profit.
Essentially, you're just doubling your buying or your spending
buying
power, right? So those are our 10 tips to go ahead and get started in buying and selling cars in your area. We will have more videos that are going to go into detail on a lot more of these tips. These are just a basic overview. It's not a end-all, be-all, or a guide to follow specifically, but something that gets you started and gets you thinking.
Alright, so that's been Speed Plus Garage. Like, comment, share. Definitely subscribe if you really want to get into flipping cars, because we're going to go deep into depth into flipping cars. We're going to show you how we actually buy cars and the techniques we use, and the techniques we also use when we sell these cars. So it'll definitely benefit you to subscribe to this.